What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pancis. If it's your first time tuning in, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. If not, thanks for your continued support. Today we are going to be doing all of the suspension of, we're going to do two parts. So this is part one of the suspension on my 2004 Saab 9.5 Aero. If you guys haven't been following the channel, be sure to check out the playlist right here above. We got this car last September of 2020. And we have done so much work to this car over the last year, including driving it over 20,000 miles. So it has been quite the adventure so far. So we're going to continue this adventure. We have been slowly rebuilding the car since day one, making it back to brand new or brand new conditions. And the car has been running so freaking amazing. The only thing that we're going to do is update the suspension because everything on there is original from the factory, and it's got 220,000 miles, if not almost 220,000 miles. So we're going to go ahead and change everything. As you guys can see, we got some boxes full of parts. So we're going to do the front and the rear. And I think in part one, we're going to do the rear first. We'll inspect for rust, make sure everything looks good back there. From the last time I checked back there last year, everything looked pretty good. I mean, it had some rust. It was normal wear and tear of this car for this generation. But I don't think it's too severe. So we're going to go and inspect everything there. And then we're going to put new springs, new struts, shocks and new springs. And of course, new components that go along with that. We got everything. So I will lay it all out there before we hop in there so you guys can see everything. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so I went a little bit above and beyond with certain things, and I will show you that right now. So here is everything for the rear suspension. We have our shock, we have new bump stops, which we probably don't need to pay for, but they're really cheap, so I got new ones. Some coil springs, the original ones are on there. I don't think they're bad, but for a couple bucks more, and doing it right, just for peace of mind, we got brand new springs. These are obviously made in Sweden, so they are not OEM original equipment, but they're OEM original equipment, if you guys get my drift. And then the other thing we went ahead and did, which I didn't need to do either, but just because the car is pretty old and just for rust purposes and all that good stuff, I went ahead and just got new mounts for the top. So this this sits like this on the car, and the shock goes up in there, and obviously, or excuse me, the coil spring goes up in there, and the shock goes in like this, and of course you put the bump stop on there. So we're gonna go ahead and do all of this properly. So just wanted to show you that. And then of course there's gonna be a couple components that I need to pull off the old setup right now, which is some of the mountings, washers and bushings that go on the top here. So we'll hop into the details as we go, but I just kind of giving you the drift of what this looks like. It's pretty straightforward. So if any of you guys are out there that are scared or worried or never have done this before, it's really pretty straightforward. And I rented a little shock compressor, spring compressor, to compress the spring to install everything properly. So it's really, really straightforward. So without further ado, let's back that car in here and get it working. All right, guys, so this is pretty straightforward here. We have 1, 2, and 3, 4 16 millimeter bolts holding this top part in. And then on the bottom there, as you guys can see, I have a socket on there. It's a 21 millimeter socket. So 5 screws, 5 bolts will remove the entire spring assembly. So let's rock it out. right, boys, we got everything undone. Just gonna undo this one bolt here. And this should come flying down. Couple knocks, and here she is, guys. All right, guys, there is the old assembly. I'm gonna go ahead now and grease this top nut off because I need this part here, this bushing and this washer on the top for the new setup. I didn't buy a new one, which was kind of silly, but is what it is. And of course, it's good we bought new springs. You guys can see the corrosion on this coil here, the original coil. You can just see everything getting weaker there. So let me wrestle that off and keep you guys updated. All right, guys, so just when you thought you organized all the parts you needed, there's a couple things I forgot. So a few things that I forgot is up here, you guys can see there's a mount and a bushing. And these two I didn't order. I probably should have, but I didn't because it's kind of a little rusted. And then the last thing that I didn't order, which goes in here, is the strut support mount that kind of goes on top of the spring, in between the spring and the strut mount there, the shock mount. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and just cut this off because I'm not gonna be reusing any of this stuff, and try and salvage some of the parts that I need to get this job done. So I'm gonna do it off camera, but just explaining to you guys ahead of time that if you're gonna order, make sure that you order the bushing, the mount on the top here, the metal piece, and then of course the collar for the spring on the bottom. So fun times for me ahead. I'm gonna see you guys here in a minute. All right, guys, so what I'm about to show you was not part of my original plan, but since I don't have the right tools and the store doesn't have the right tools, I kind of had to take things into my own hands. And since I'm replacing this old rusted mounting bracket for the strut, I went ahead and just cut the old shock apart so I can take, ooh, that's really hot still. So I can go ahead and take apart the tools and the units, like this coil brace out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the bushing and everything that I need there as well. So let's hop into the rest of this here and I'll keep you guys updated. Hey boys, serious talk. Order these parts because they're really cheap, these bushings, and I didn't order them, and it was a pain in the ass to get this all apart. I just completely mangled the old setup here to slide everything off. But here's the deal. It's not worth the time. Just order all the new parts if you guys want to do this. Anyways, I finally have everything apart, and before I forget how to put it back together, let's just hop right into the new one. All right, boys, so I went ahead and just touched up this thing with rust preventer in some of the areas that I needed to from working on this just now. I resprayed the top here so it's nice and covered, and that's pretty much it, guys, on how to assemble this. It's pretty straightforward. You just slide, like I said earlier, you slide the bump stop on, and then you slide the coil, and then you do the bushings, and then you mount it all up and it's good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of do a quick respray underneath here of some of this rust. Try to see if we can slow it down. Let's do that real quick. with a few little hiccups. We finally got her in there. Everything looking nice and good in there. I sprayed everything down. I probably should go in there and do a deeper rust repair, but maybe we'll save that for a later video. At the moment, she's looking good. I want to see how the car rides once we have this all completed. So, all right, guys. So we just wrapped up the other side. Everything is good. Obviously, the second time around was a little easier for me. So, while we're on camera here, let's go ahead and lower the car. Well, I certainly didn't hear any crunching noises. It's definitely sitting high, but let's see what happens when I release the e-brake. Still sitting pretty high.
Is that bad?
No, it's brand new, so we gotta take it for a ride, and it's gonna
bring it to a level.
Bring it down. What's up? Say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Now Dad can drive the car without sitting. We're gonna take this thing for a drive and see if that squats down a little bit, cause that's new suspension. This thing's gonna be literally brand new. See if we hear any crunching back there. So far, so good. No, it's pretty good. Oh, it's pretty solid. It's funny. Hold on. Everybody decided to take a ride with me on the test drive. They all trust my work. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But
your work's great.
But the car feels much better already, just kind of cruising off from the neighborhood here. So we're taking it down this main road here. We're doing about 65. And there's a little overpass here. So we're going to feel how the back responds right about now.
Back didn't respond. That's good.
Felt good back there?
Yeah.
It's like
feels like it's stiff.
Yeah, it's like it's working now. It's not sagging to the ground with 200,000
all over the place.
Yeah, this thing was hitting bumps and it was like hitting, I don't know, how do you explain it?
It was rock bottoming.
Right, every time, right? So now we got the backs fixed. So next video, guys, we're gonna take care of that front and all new components for the front. And this thing's running pretty good. I don't know what else to do. We're gonna do the radiator upper rad hose, which we've never replaced. And then the next major thing is gonna be tires again, but we're gonna wait another month or two, probably squeeze out another 5,000 or 10,000 miles because we can. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on part 2 of the front suspension upgrade. See you soon.